La cinquena sessió porta per títol la gestió del coneixement i la creació de capacitació, claus de l'èxit. Comptar amb hotels, pistes d'esquí i instal·lacions turístiques que satisfacin el turista és només una cara de la moneda de l'èxit d'una destinació de muntanya. Hi ha però altres factors, com són la gestió del coneixement, la qualitat dels serveis i la creació de capacitació que també hi intervenen. Continua la moderació el senyor Enric Torres, que és director de producte i nous projectes d'Andorra Turisme, i com a ponents hi ha el professor Tobias Luthe, la senyora Peggy Amelung, el senyor Marc Valdez i també el senyor Miquel Nicolau. Fa la presentació d'aquesta sessió i de tots els seus components el senyor Enric Torres.
Bon dia a tothom. Continuem amb la sessió número 5. Com comentava la meva companya, Gemma Rial, la gestió del coneixement i la creació de capacitació, claus de l'èxit. Aquest és el títol d'aquesta sessió número 5. Un dels principals desafiaments als quals ens enfrontem actualment és com la formació i les investigacions acadèmiques són aplicables a la realitat de l'activitat turística i com aquestes són capaces de generar un veritable valor afegit a l'experiència turística, posant o reforçant la importància del factor humà. En aquesta sessió tindrem l'oportunitat d'aprofundir alguns exemples pràctics del coneixement aplicats al camp del turisme i de les formacions actualment al nostre abast, adaptades a la realitat de l'entorn i enfocades a millorar la capacitació dels gestors i agents turístics en els entorns de muntanya. El nostre primer ponent és el professor Dr. Tobias Luthe, director fundador de l'Institut MonViso i professor de l'ETH de Zúrich. El títol de la seva ponència és l'Institut MonViso com a centre de recerca, educació i emprenedoria relacionades amb la sostenibilitat. El doctor Tobias és professor de Ciències de la Sostenibilitat a la Universitat de Ciències Aplicades de HTV-Schur i professor a ETH Zurich Foundation, Universitat de Lugano i a la Universitat de Friburg, Alemanya. Així mateix és director fundador de l'Institut MonViso, centre de muntanya i un laboratori del món real per a la investigació de la regió del Piemont a Itàlia. Es tracta d'un científic interdisciplinari de sostenibilitat amb una formació en postgrau en ciències forestals i enginyeria de la fusta i en economia ambiental, geografia econòmica i en comunicació sobre sostenibilitat. El doctor Luthe s'interessa en les relacions humanes i mediambientals i en la transició cap a una societat més sostenible en disciplines, sectors industrials i en diverses geografies. Els seus interessos en l'ús de la ciència per ajudar a dissenyar un món més sostenible es corresponen amb la seva mentalitat emprenedora. La presentació que ve a continuació ens permetrà descobrir i conèixer exemples de com l'observació i els estudis de recerca en entorns de muntanya han permès aplicar i desenvolupar models de creixement sostenibles i enriquidors tant per a les comunitats locals com per als visitants. Mr. Luthe, your turn.
Thank you very much. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear fellow speakers, I'm honored to speak here to you and add some of our work to the discussions that have been ongoing. And I think I can directly connect to the previous speakers and the importance of communities and livelihoods in alpine areas and mountain areas, which I think we sometimes neglect due to a very technical, maybe scientific, maybe also business perspective. So I'm discussing today an example of the MonViso Institute, which is a real-world laboratory. And the term real-world laboratory is quite important because it is an upcoming new research mode. It's transdisciplinary, it's connecting science and practice together, yes, but it's also experimenting with new solutions in reality. So you can actually real-time see what is happening and see if those solutions that we discuss about actually are working together with local people. So connecting local livelihoods with a real-time exploration of different topics, different tourism development topics, but also other questions. This is a picture of the compound. This is MonViso. It's the highest mountain of the southern Alps, almost 4,000 meters high. And you can see here the abandoned buildings. There are lots and lots of abandoned buildings in these communities, in the Piedmont as elsewhere as well. And we are transforming this compound to a living laboratory, bringing groups up to 20, 30 people to stay there for a couple of days and really experience what it means, sustainable development in a mountain context, engaging with the community, with the nature, with themselves. And architectural development is one major part of it, but also embedding in the local community, a circular economy, tourism, education. These are all parts that we are developing here. So just to be right, my main job is not only to transform buildings. I work as a scientist at ETH Zurich, and also a lot in tourism. So for the past years, we're developing this Sustainable Mountain Tourism Alliance as an upcoming network on looking at measuring, implementing, communicating sustainability in mountain tourism, bottom-up networks. I also love mountaineering, skiing, and that all comes together in this project. So Ostana is situated here, which you can see here, the red arrow, near Turin in the Italian-French border region. And you can see here the drive from Milano to Torino. This is MonViso, and we are right situated here in this part. It's a landmark because the River Po, longest river in Italy, goes to Venice. By Turin, it has its origin, its source there. So it's quite important. In Ostana, as you can see here, a picture at evening, the partly renovated buildings of the community faced a very big crisis, a crisis of almost leaving from 1,200 people, inhabitants, in the 1920s, all the way to 80 and officially even 5 people. So in 1980, 2000, there were about 5 people, permanent residents left. It was abandoned, basically, like many other villages. So a huge crisis, like many other mountain communities have been facing it as well. And what happened since then? So you can see your map, and you can see the Alps, and more to the east, the blue parts. There is still, these are numbers from 2010, I think, still a bit of a negative migration, so there's still places emptying out. And in the west, you can see red, there's already a bit of a positive influx. And it changed a little bit on a detailed level when you zoom in a bit. So Ostana is already in a region that had its crisis, big crisis, that's over, and it's already in the uprise again, which is interesting for a place, for a project in sustainability transitions. And so there are many communities like that and abandoned, and the goal is really to regain a resilient, adaptive, innovative community, economy, and much of that will involve tourism, but tourism in a very circular context. So how is tourism and the supply chain connected with other industry sectors? Architecture, service sector, the arts, production, agriculture, forestry, and so on. And together in a network context, you can create a new, more resilient, sustainable economy, and that is a big part of our project. So you can see here, after this crisis, economic figures, tax payments have been rising already, and a lot is due to tourism sectors, accommodation, restaurants, but also different kinds of artisans and others. So we are actually entering with our project after crisis with a huge chance to innovate, and after it's already starting again. And big part is change makers. This is Giacomo Lombardo, the mayor, who is from the region but who worked internationally, and he has the big vision. So he put a vision first. Where do we want to go? What is the goal actually? It's not just rebuilding the economy as it was, which wouldn't work. It's about finding a new vision and saying, well, we have 3 pillars here in the future. One is tradition of the people, one is knowledge of people, and one is nature. 3 pillars. And that is how he starts to rebuild an economy, and that's how he helped us to actually start our project there. And they already renovated this house. It's a refugio, and it's a meeting point. It's a social hub. This is the start of everything, because people meet and connect. I went there, and there was light in the evening, and I went in there to have a coffee, and that's how I connect to the community, which is otherwise still, quite dark in the evenings. And so that's how I could talk to the mayor and connect. Super important social hub. Or renewed buildings, traditional stone architecture of the Piedmont, To the right, you see a polyfunctional building that's partly financed by European funding. That's a polyfunctional intercultural building, actually designed for cultural interchange, for tourists, for local people, for events, for co-working. So the mayor was so innovative to say, well, we want new types of people here. People combining tourism, mountain sports, arts, beautiful landscapes with working, so co-working. So he made a place for co-working people like you have in the cities, and the people are not there yet, but now he can attract those people. It's really amazing. And it goes in this direction, which is a model from Italy, Albergo Diffusi. This is a bit of an accommodation, hospitality component of Ostana and also the project. As opposed to building big new hotels to attract more tourists, they're looking at all the tiny little refuge, the little private homes, small hotels, and if you connect them in a network context, then suddenly you have 100 beds in that village already. And then you can go beyond from the community to the valley and the region. So Albergo Diffuso, the systemic design of networked aspects is quite visible and a success model already for this region. And this makes us also rethink, do we always have to rebuild big infrastructure? Maybe we can take advantage of existing things, connect them and find synergies, which is somehow part of a circular economy. So let's get back to the MonViso Institute, vision and goals. This is a drone image, so we're transforming this abundant place, which is a compound in the community. It's isolated but still connected, to a living laboratory for sustainability. We're designing this playful hub for research, yes, real-world research, educational programs, our topic now, and also entrepreneurship. Building up new ideas and getting them out. So it's about research design on different systemic solutions. Architecture is one, sustainable tourism development is another one, circular economy in total. Make that experiential, bring students, we already have students from different master classes there, but also professionals. International people, local people, learning, joint learning in a living laboratory that is fun, taking them out of the classroom and live and share. So what is the new mountain lifestyle of the future? How can we implement urban elements and mix them with mountain elements? That is a new breed. That is a huge chance for mountain tourism. It's 1,400 meter high, it's 6-7 buildings, it's a lot of land, and it was really difficult to buy this land because there was no land reform. And the mayor had to talk to about 40-50 people, and each one had one small piece. And some lived in France, some were dead, some we couldn't find, some didn't want to sell, some were jealous, some were very supportive. And so it's impossible without local help to start a project like that. But luckily we had a good help. So transdisciplinary real-world laboratory research at the MonViso Institute, different topics, Alpine urbanism, smart mobility, digitalization and its effects on mountain life, renewable energy production, architecture for sure, but also different types of tourism, mountain sports, and ecosystem services. And I'm showing you some example quite soon. And the backbone is, of course, learning and communicating and experience sustainability. And to the right, there you have a model, a sustainability model, which I can't explain in detail. It's a published backbone of what we're doing. And to the left, it's formulated very simply. Sustainability as a global goal, a local path to work, and a joint process. It's collaboration, participation, both on a local applied context, but also based on broad scientific experience and knowledge. And on the website, we publish these systemic design principles. What is the scientific background of everything that we're doing? That is very systemic, that goes really deep into detail, looking at parts, how window frames are isolated. Not just a good window, but where the materials come from. Are they regional? Are they renewable? Can they be recycled, upcycled? It goes very much in detail and it opens up all the way to how is it connected with the territory and the international realm. We collect data, different parts, both quantitative data, but also involvement, and we heard this before in a presentation, working with the local people. The interaction of, let's say, the international quantitative part with the local experiential part is key in such a real-world approach. And one example here, experimenting with new mountain lifestyles. These are two young women. One is from Switzerland, one from Germany, and they decided they want to move back to the mountains, like also other local people. And they're meeting in Astana already. It's like a hub. And so why did these people come back to the mountains? What does them keep there? What are these alpine urban elements? And we can test it, we can experiment, and people are part of the experiment. Local mobility, University of Lugano students, so we invited them on different courses and activities and look into sustainable mobility solutions together with people, doing surveys, doing experiments, taking a Sunday in August to work with people and offer different mobility alternatives, and publishing this report in Italian and English, for example. Doing surveys. These are students from all over the world, from University of Lugano. It's part of their curriculum. They're learning, and same time they're contributing to the community. That's real-world laboratory work. This is a bit hard to see now, but this is social network analysis, and these are the current community of Astana, about 50, 60 people full-time and a couple of more part-time. And the students surveyed how they are connected, how they are collaborating. And for us, it's really important to understand how is the structure of the community, how supportive are they for new ideas and topics, and where can we connect with different people. And it shows that there's a very supportive core. These people are all very open for new ideas. And these people around here are a bit distant. They say, well, you know, we're careful, we'd rather keep the tradition as it was. But the majority says, yes, you know, we want these new innovative ideas. And red is the mayor. And then you have different colors for people living full-time or, you know, commuting. And you have different sizes for age classes. So very young people are small bubbles, and older people, 70, 80, in this case, are the bigger ones. An example for real-world study and research that we're doing. Then we're having a rich course program for different, with different studies, with university students, with professionals. One is building with hemp, industrial hemp fibers and local materials. One is about sport aspects. One is co-working. One is systems thinking and drone flying. So a very interesting, colorful components. And the core of our work, and that's maybe one of my main messages here, is innovation and future in mountain development, I believe, has a lot to do with having respect and listening to local people, to livelihoods, understanding the place, showing respect, taking time, and combining that with international knowledge and influence. And that's super difficult, especially in a real-world laboratory, where we don't just do a project for 3 years and then we leave again. No, we commit to 30, 40 years. You know? So it's social innovation is important. 2 minutes, really? I'm still with 6 minutes here. Okay, so I'm trying to speed a bit here. So, you know, renewing houses, there's a lot to learn from old infrastructure. Create design solutions. This is a 30-centimeter wood wall made from scrap wood. It's connected with a wooden screw. No metal, no glue, nothing. It's a solid wood wall that is extremely good for passive timber building houses, and it can be recycled, upcycled, for example. Or solar roofs. These are traditional stone tiles, and you have to use them again for a new house. But then you wonder, where does the energy come from? And we said we have to use the southern face for photovoltaics. But this somehow conflicts with traditional building codes. And we found this company in Switzerland, and they make photovoltaic panels which mimic the traditional stone tiles. So it's an example of bridging tradition and, you know, necessary innovation. And then we come to building solutions here with local stones, local chestnut wood, passive technology, and so on, with many, many details. So it's transparent, and we have this building journal, so people can see what we are doing, why we are doing, can see the systemic thinking, and can contribute and participate to the transformation that we are doing and showing. So one very relevant tourism example, and this is Summit Powder Mountain in the US. These guys are building a new communities for the millennial elite, inviting people like Bill Clinton as speaker and U2 as a music group, and building a new community of very innovative people with a lot of money. You know, it's an interesting network. It was just a new report in The Guardian, and we just invited them and did a ski tour from Mont Blanc to MonViso. Took them on a really hard trip, which was not so easy for them. So this is the group, and these are all high-class entrepreneurs in mountain tourism, and they're having like a $100 million development, with real estate. So it's a huge component of mobility of accommodation. And we arrived late in the evening, so it was really tough for those guys. And then we met in Ostana. We invited the local people, Occitan music, Occitan culture, which reaches all over to the Pyrenees here, actually, and the Basque country. And so those local people here, they came with their instruments from the whole region, and then jamming together with people from Los Angeles. And that guy is co-founder of Summit, and they were jamming on the guitar. And I hope I can give you a quick idea how it looked like. Just 30 seconds. Co-founders of Summit. So this is demonstrating what we're doing, bringing that outside influence, totally different people mindsets, and they learn from each other in this way. It was super successful because suddenly local people understand what we are doing, and those Americans were impressed about the local community, about their language skills, about their interest, about their culture. So I'm coming close to an end. This is just another example of regrowing cannabis, industrial hemp, so not the drug stuff, but low THC value. It's a traditional plant used in mountain places, and it's an illustration for a multifunctional plant that has been forgotten, and that is a super stimulator for circular economy. For example, extracting those fibers and building skis. We build skis with it. No glass fiber, no carbon, but hemp fibers. And we just won 2 design prizes with these skis, involving students in that kind of research. So they learn about hemp fibers, sustainability, and so on, engineering, And the hemp fibers actually are here in the ski construction. It's just one example where we grow this stuff on the mountain, in the laboratory, different types of trees, make these constructions, build the skis, and experience outside. That's really what we're doing there. And this is just a system of hemp and its capacities. So the transformation happens on different scales. The buildings, the compound, the community, the valley and the region, and I can just invite you to visit the website or visit the place or be inspired by this real-world laboratory research and work. And I thank you very much for listening and hope for some discussion later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tobias. Bé, amb aquesta presentació hem après una mica com l'aplicació d'estudis i investigacions ens ajuden a aplicar correctament les mesures que ens han de permetre desenvolupar turísticament espais de muntanya, fent que aquest desenvolupament es faci sempre sota premisses de conservació, de suport a la comunitat local i de recuperació dels valors intrínsecs del destí, així com una millora econòmica i desenvolupament de noves economies. Thank you, Tobias.